Um, I just have a few announcements to make. First of all, we had an amazing retreat last weekend. It was very powerful, deep, and transformative. And I was very grateful to be part of it, to really work in that kind of depth, I think is very important. So it was really good. There's going to be another one in June. It's already full up. If you're interested in coming in June, I will have to put you on a waiting list because I've already have, you know, people for that. And then there's another one in August, for my birthday, which is getting full up pretty quickly. Um, so if you want to come to this, you can be put on a waiting list or you can come to the one in August. But it's, really, as I say, I mean, it was an amazing weekend. And I wish you all were there, but you all weren't there. But those who were there really benefited. The second thing is that, as I've been saying for the last week, I'm going to go on just a 4 or 5 day vacation, and I'm going to be, not having class here until next Monday, the 1st of May. There's a class tomorrow in the European Israeli class, but and after that there'll be no classes until the following Monday. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I must say I'm very tired. I need, please try and sit still. Okay. I mean, really, I'm so tired of repeating that, just, another 5 minutes, sit without moving. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? We all have intuitive energy. We have inspiration. We have inspiration all the time about how we should function, and instead of having enough trust to listen to that inspiration, listen to that intuition, because most of the time that inspiration and intuition comes from a much higher place than the mind could ever get to. And by listening to it and not trying to analyze it or figure it out or bring it down to the terms that make sense to you, often it leads to a creative life and it leads to an interesting life, a path that one can take that will open many doors that we never dreamed can be opened to us. But we all have that inside ourselves. Very few people really listen to it. They analyze, they figure out, they're afraid of it because it often represents a step into the unknown, into areas of life that they don't understand or they're not familiar with. But it's kind of a miraculous thing, this intuitive sense that exists in every human being. It's the thing that gives birth to great art, great music, great theater, great dance, great life. Whatever your profession is, it doesn't have to be an artist or a dancer, but whatever it is, there's ways of inspiring yourself to make what you do in your daily life more interesting. It doesn't have to be done by rote. When you start doing things by rote, it gets very deadly. So part of the development of a chakra system is building a system that is no longer afraid to listen to inspiration, to listen to things that, they come to us and we don't even know where they come to, but they often represent a real path that a human being needs to take in their life. I've had that all my life. I still have it today. I learned years ago to listen to that and not to be afraid of it and not to, try to analyze it or figure it out. Or the worst of all is to bring it down to my level of understanding. I mean, those are always the worst books ever written. The people that try to bring the inspiration down to their level of understanding, instead of just being the craft through which the inspiration can flow and become one's life. Somebody, rationalizes it, brings it down to what they understand about life, and it becomes deadly, boring, uninteresting, intellectual. But in this meditation, we are developing a craft. And it's a craft that allows inspiration to flow through us, higher creative energy to flow through us, and manifest in our daily life. And not to be afraid to let it do that. It's just an incredible way to live. And it really is trusting God. The words of God, the inspiration that flows through. Kerry, you got to stop moving. I mean it. It really disrupts the class. I don't, wait another 2 minutes, okay? And then you can move all you want. It just disrupts the class every time you lift your hand up and do that. I mean, I don't want to be a taskmaster. It's really against my nature. I used to be one. I don't really like doing that anymore. But I also am tired of repeating, don't move. I'm really tired of it. Sit still until the class is over. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Hi, Stuart. It's Guy Winters. Could you talk to us about the meaning of
Guy,
surrender?
why can't I see you?
There's something wrong with my setup. I'm sorry. I'll make sure it works next time.
Okay.
Uh, could you talk to us about the meaning of surrender in spiritual practice?
Well, you can only fit so much water in a glass, Guy. When you're full of yourself, your ego, your opinions, your, way of thinking, the conditioned way one has been living their life, when you're full of yourself, there's no room for spirit. So surrender has to do with becoming less full of ego, less opinionated, less structured, less conditioned, less living with old patterns of behavior, more open to the flow of Shakti and God and spirit to come through you, and to truly develop a system inside that is strong enough so that Shakti, that energy of spirit, can manifest in your life. It can guide your life. If you're full of yourself, there's no room for that Shakti, that higher energy to come through you and truly guide your life. And this is important because, everything gets boring, it gets old, it gets stale. We live in stagnant, not everybody, but people live in stagnant pools of water, And living that way, it doesn't allow for that remarkable freshness and vitality of spirit to manifest, the joy, the love, the spontaneity of living every day, the recognition that we all are living in a sacred place. Life is a sacred place. But if we live in a stagnant pool of water that's full of our own ego and, it doesn't allow for us to truly experience the miracle of what it is to be alive. So surrender is not giving up. Surrender is a very difficult thing to do because you have to let go. You have to let go of old patterns, conditioned behavior, everything that is, blocking and damming up the flow of Shakti inside you so that you can ultimately allow that Shakti to develop, the chakra system, the chakra below the navel, which gives you real strength, real power inside yourself. The heart is open, real love. You know, the mind is quiet. You can receive wisdom and knowledge. All of this stuff is missing in people because they don't let go. They don't let go. They don't surrender. They're holding on to the past. They're holding on to absolutely what once was. And the whole miracle of a spiritual life is we learn to live in the now. We learn to live in the present, which is an impossible thing if we're holding on to so many obstructions. So surrender is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of great strength. It's a sign of enormous strength inside a person to be willing to change, to be willing to allow ourselves to experience cycles of energy as they manifest in life, and they manifest inside us, and they really demand that we change. There's death and there's rebirth. And if you don't surrender deeply inside, there's no rebirth. You're holding on to the past. So surrender is a very difficult subject and a very difficult thing to do. And it takes a great deal of training and a great development of a chakra system to surrender deeply inside. You'll truly let go. And ultimately, what are we surrendering? Ultimately, we all have to surrender everything anyway. So all of this struggle to conserve and this and that, it's nonsense, because ultimately it all goes. And when it does all goes, the day we leave the world, we have to be ready and prepared to open our arms and embrace the universe, to be one with God, to be nothing in ourselves. I mean, I'm not saying this is easy. It's not easy to do. It takes, as I've said many times, training, it takes work on oneself. And above everything else, it takes developing a chakra system, and having that internal strength that enables one to do it. That's what meditation is for. It's all it's for. As I said this weekend, and I said also in these classes, meditation is not a spiritual life. Meditation is a craft that you use to build a system inside that enables you to have a spiritual life. It's like boot camp. You have to learn to fight the internal battle. And that's all meditation is about. And as I've said many times, the only person we're really up against in this work to gain spiritual enlightenment is ourselves. We have to learn to master ourselves. We don't learn to master that. Then there's reincarnation, and we have to learn it again and again and again, and again until we finally say, what? I hope that's clear.
It was beautiful.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, as I say after every class, I am here to learn. That's my purpose for being here. I'm not here to be a guru. I'm not here to be a swami. I'm not here to be anything of that nature. I'm here to simply learn how to grow, develop my inner life, and to be one with God. Every single one of you is helping me to do that, and I'm very grateful for your presence, that you're in the class, that we're all making this kind of effort together. And I think it's extraordinary. That's really the kind of I mean, people could be sitting in a movie right now, they could be having dinner, some restaurant, I mean, really, you're here doing this work that Rudy bequeathed to us, this amazing work. The purpose of this work is to gain spiritual enlightenment. So God bless you. Thank you. And as I say, I'm just really tired. I've been doing this for a couple of years straight here, the Zoom work, and I need to take a rest. So I'm going to take 4 or 5 days, and then the classes will resume next Monday on the 1st. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bless you, Stuart.
Be well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah.